Welcome back to Project 365. Corey from SB Pace talking process in the month of September. Today's question is, how do I implement processes? Now, there's probably a million ways that you can do this, and so I'm just going to hit this at a very high level. The idea of implementing a process or how you do it is you first need to understand what you're doing now, and you need to understand what you're going to be doing. And so we're going to call those the current state and the future state. So current state is what you're doing now. Future state is what you're going to be doing. If there's any kind of deviation in between the two, then that's going to be what we call a gap. And so that gap is the difference between where you are and where you want to go. So when you're implementing processes, first you need to identify the gaps, and you need to be able to plan for those gaps. And then you want to create training processes or training documents for the new processes. And that's going to involve the workflows, the checklist, the documentation, logins to new systems, et cetera, that you're going to need. And then you hand it off to the people who are going to be implementing that new process. And you're going to have to realize that there's going to be some pushback. There's going to be some issues. It's not going to be as efficient as it possibly can when you first implement a process because it's new and it takes time for people to learn it. So you give it a little bit of the time, whatever that process is, give it some time, let people get used to it. You want to make sure that you've accurately recorded benchmarks so you can measure progress, like for improvement reasons. You can measure people's their adoption rate of the new process, all these different things that you can measure so that you can go back in a couple, like periodically. So go back in a day, and then 2 days, then a week, then a month, etc., and just make sure that everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing, and make sure that there's a feedback channel for the new processes. So as you implement processes, they're probably not going to be perfect. There's going to be little things that are going to have to get tweaked here and there. So make sure that you have that feedback loop so that people who are performing the processes can let you know that this is working, this isn't working, I like this, I don't like this. And that'll allow you to tweak things as you go to just make that new process as efficient and as as beneficial as you can for your business. Because ultimately, the whole idea of implementing a new process is to improve upon the business, make everybody's lives a little bit easier, add more value to the business. And so you want to make sure that you're not creating extra steps or extra work just to create work, that in the end, the amount of work that you put in is going to be, the output of what the work you're doing is going to be better than what it was prior to the old process. Now, there's exceptions to every rule, of course. Like if, for example, you have some sort of new regulation or something that you have to do legally, obviously that's probably going to slow things down a bit, and that's just part of life. But for the most part, when you're implementing a new process, the idea is to make things more efficient and better for your company.